students, welcome to Easy Science YouTube channel. Please do subscribe to Easy Science YouTube channel and click the bell icon. You will never miss an update from my channel. So let's move on to the class today. Today I will discuss about the questions which can be asked from the lesson Digestion and Absorption. This is part 1, children. So I am sharing my screen. Let's move on to the class today. So this is Digestion and Absorption, chapter test 1, part 1. So let's discuss the question. So the first question here is the inhibition of gastric and stimulation of gastric pancreatic and bile secretions are controlled by the hormones. So this is the topic from the topic the hormones which are present in the alimentary canal or digestive tract. So inhibition, first of all, the stimulation of gastric glands is done by the hormone gastrin. Pancreatic and bile secretions are controlled by pancreozymin and cholecystokinin. And inhibition of gastric glands is done by enterogastrone. So which option is correct, children? Option A is correct. So enterogastrone inhibits the secretions of the gastric glands. Gastrin stimulates the secretion of the gastric glands. Pancreatic secretions are stimulated by pancreozymin and bile secretions are secreted by cholecystokinin. These three hormones, gastrin, pancreozymin and cholecystokinin are secreted by the walls of the duodenum. Right. Let's move on to the next question. Yes. Second question. A person is deficient in the rhodopsin. Should be advised to take more of dash. See, this is related to rhodopsin is related to a pigment which is present inside the eye. So option A, radish and potato. Option B, carrot and ripe papaya. Option C, apple and grapes. And option D, guava and ripe banana. See, this pigment is related to eyes. So any defect in the eyes is due to the deficiency of vitamin A. Is due to the deficiency of vitamin A. So what happens whenever there is vitamin A deficiency? We have to, what are the sources of vitamin A? You have to think. There are green leafy vegetables and the fruits which are yellow and orange in color. The fruits which are yellow and orange in color. So here the correct option is carrot and ripe papaya. So person deficient with rhodopsin should be advised to take more of carrot and ripe papaya because these two fruits and papaya is a fruit and carrot is a vegetable contains rich sources of vitamin A. That's why option B is correct, children. So this is vitamin A. These vegetable and fruit contains large quantity of vitamin A. Right. Let's move on to the next question. So cardiac glands are present in. Here the options are option A, pericardium, option B, myocardium, option C, endocardium, option D, stomach. See here pericardium, myocardium, endocardium are the membranes which surround the heart children. So cardiac glands are present inside the stomach. So stomach is divided into 3 parts, children. One is the cardiac part. Second one is the fundic region. 3 regions are there. And the third one is pyloric region. So gastric glands are secreted inside the stomach. There are three kinds of gastric glands. Three kinds of gastric glands are present. One is the cardiac glands. Second one is the pyloric glands. And the third one is fundic or oxyntic glands. So cardiac glands are present in means what will write children? It is one type of a gastric gland. Gastric gland location is stomach. So which option is correct? Option D is correct. So let's move on to the next question. Fourth question. Where is protein digestion completed? Here the options they have given is option A stomach, option B ileum, option C rectum, option D duodenum. So where protein digestion completed? See, whether it is protein or carbohydrate or fat, the process of digestion would be completed. The process of digestion is completed inside stomach. The process of digestion is completed inside stomach, inside small intestine. So here they are given the options. Option A stomach, option B ileum, option C rectum, option D duodenum. Stomach, it will start, protein digestion will start. Rectum, there is no digestion takes place inside the rectum, children, because it is a part of large intestine. So small intestine parts are ileum and duodenum, but duodenum is known to be the first part of the small intestine. There are three parts in the small intestine. One is duodenum, second one is jejunum, and third one is ileum. So the process of protein digestion will be completed in ileum. Option B correct. Let's move on to the next question. Fifth question. A person was eating boiled potato. Which food component is found in it? So here they have given the options: A, DNA, which gets digested by pancreatic DNAase. Option B, lactose, which is indigestible. Option C, starch, which is not digested. Option D, cellulose, which is digested by intestinal cellulase. So here, first of all, boiled potato do not have lactose and cellulose. Boiled potato do not have lactose and cellulose, and starch is present, but it would be break down into simple substances. So which food component is found in is means we will write the option A. DNA which get digested by pancreatic DNAase. Pancreatic nucleases are there. Two types of pancreatic nucleases are there. One is DNAase and the second one is RNAase, because we have two types of nucleic acids, DNA and RNA. They were converted into simple substances like first nucleotides, then nucleosides, and finally nitrogen bases. So that is the component which is present in the boiled potato, and it gets digested by the pancreatic DNAase. So option A is correct here. Lactose and cellulose do not present inside the boiled potato. Yes, let's move on to the next question. Sixth question. Two friends are eating together on a dining table. one of them suddenly start coughing while swallowing some food, the coughing would have been due to the improper movement of which organ in the body they are asking. So here the options given are, yes, epiglottis, option B diaphragm, option C neck, option D tongue. Children, in the digestive tract, we have a structure called pharynx. Pharynx is the common passage for both food and air. So from pharynx, food will go to the food pipe and air will go to the windpipe. So this channel or this traffic will be kept channeled by a muscular fab-like structure called epiglottis. So what is the role of the epiglottis? See, whenever we are eating the food, what happens is this epiglottis will be closed partially so that food will go only into the food pipe. But when we are eating, if you start talking, what happens? The epiglottis opens widely so that food start going into the windpipe, which is the reason for coughing while swallowing the food. So which organ of the digestive tract has an improper movement? Epiglottis. So here the option A is correct. Now, let's move on to the next question. Seventh question. The fat soluble vitamin is, here they have given the options. Option A, vitamin B. Option B, vitamin C. Option C, vitamin K. And option D, vitamin H. Children, there were two kinds of vitamins. One is water soluble vitamins. And the second one is fat soluble vitamins. So water soluble vitamins means water. The vitamins which are soluble in water are known as water soluble vitamins. So examples of water soluble vitamins are B complex, and the second is vitamin C. The vitamins which are soluble in fat are known as fat soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, D, E, K are examples of fat soluble vitamins. So now the correct option is option C. The fat soluble vitamin is vitamin K. Let's move on to the next question. Yes. In humans, the undigested, unabsorbed substances called feces are temporarily stored in. See, the process of digestion would be completed inside the small intestine, and the digested food will be absorbed into the villi, which are richly supplied with blood capillaries. Whatever undigested food will be there, that opens into the large intestine. Large intestine has three parts, children. One is cecum, and the first part, cecum is, the second part is colon, and the third part is rectum. The undigested food from the small intestine, that is the last part of the small intestine, is ileum, will opens into the cecum. And this opening was guarded by a valve. It's not sphincter. It's a valve called ileocecal valve. It's ileocecal valve is present, and this valve will prevent the backward flow of the fecal matter into the ileum. So it enters into the first part of the cecum, moves into the colon, and finally it will stored inside the rectum. and it enters into the anal canal, and from this canal it opens into the anus and sent outside through the anus. So before removing from our body, the fecal matter will be stored inside the rectum for some time. So which option is correct, children? Here A is correct. So here option A is correct. Right. Let's move on to the next question. Yes. The malnutrition disease in man is option A, Cri-du-Chat syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, option C, pot belly syndrome, option D, Edwards syndrome. So which option is correct here? So malnutrition means what? Eating food that doesn't contain one or more nutrients in necessary proportion or required proportion. The option here, the correct option is option C, children, pot belly syndrome. This disease will occur when the person was eating the food which contains high fat content. The food doesn't contain all the nutrients in necessary proportion. The person is eating only high quantity of fats. So this is also one malnutrition only. And here the other three options are Cri-du-Chat syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, and Edwards syndrome are genetic disorders. Right. Let's move on to the next question. What will happen if the secretion of the parietal cells of the gastric glands is blocked by an inhibitor? So here they have given the options. Gastric juice will be deficient in thymosin. Option B, gastric juice will be deficient in pepsinogen. Option C, in the absence of hydrochloric acid secretion, inactive pepsinogen is not converted to the active enzyme pepsin, and enterokinase will not be released from the duodenal mucosa, and so trypsinogen is not converted into trypsin. So here are the four options they have given. First of all, what are parietal cells? Let's discuss. So there are three types of gastric glands, children. One is cardiac glands. Cardiac glands exclusively secrete a mucus which protects the stomach from the action of its own acids and enzymatic action. And the second region is pyloric glands. Second type of gastric glands are pyloric glands. They will secrete a mucus along with a hormone called gastrin hormone. And the third type of glands are fundic or oxyntic glands. Fundic or oxyntic glands. So this oxyntic or fundic glands are comprised of three different cells, children. One is neck cell, exclusively secrete a mucus which protects the stomach from the action of its own acids and enzymes. And the second one is peptic or chief cells. Peptic or chief cells. So what is the function of these cells? They secrete some proenzymes like pepsinogen, prorenin, and intestinal lipases also secreted, children, by this peptic cells. And the third type of cells are known as oxyntic cells or parietal cells. Oxyntic cells or parietal cells. And what is the function of these cells is they will secrete hydrochloric acid and Caecum's intrinsic factor. Caecum's intrinsic factor helps in the absorption of vitamin B12 and hydrochloric acid. There were two functions, children. One is kill the microorganisms that enter the stomach through the food. Kill the microbes which enters into the stomach through the food. And second one is the peptic cells or chief cells will secrete pepsinogen. It's a very inactive enzyme. It cannot act on protein and convert proteins into simple substances. In order to act on the proteins in the presence of hydrochloric acid, it gets converted into active pepsin. So if parietal cell secretion was inhibited, then what happens? Hydrochloric acid will not be liberated. Hydrochloric acid not liberated means the inactive pepsinogen cannot be converted into active pepsin and protein digestion do not take place. So here the correct option is option C. In the absence of hydrochloric acid secretion, inactive pepsinogen is not converted to the active enzyme pepsin. Right. Let's move on to the next question, children. 11th one. So, what is present inside the pulp cavity? Pulp cavity of the teeth is lined by, our tooth is lined by a membrane known as Odontoblast. So here option A is correct. So inside the pulp cavity, the cavity which is present inside the tooth is known as pulp cavity. It contains odontoblasts, nerve cells, and even blood vessels are also present. Let's move on to the next question. Yes. The absorption of glycerol, fatty acids, and monoglycerides takes place by the, see here, they have given glycerol, fatty acids, monoglycerides. These are the simple substances of fats, children. Fats are long saturated carbon chains. I mean, they were very complex substances, children, and they were insoluble in water. Generally, fats are insoluble in water. So they cannot be absorbed into the blood in villi because the absorption process takes place inside the small intestine in villi. So villi are richly supplied with blood capillaries and even lymph vessels also. The lymph vessels of the villi are known as lacteal, right? So these fatty acids and glycerols and monoglycerides will be first absorbed into the lymph vessels and then they will be released into the blood. Directly they can't be absorbed by the blood as they are not soluble in the water. So here option A is correct. Yes. Let's move on to the next question. In human body, the role of bile salts in digestion is to. Option A acts as a coenzyme during the digestion of carbohydrates. Option B emulsify the fats and facilitate their absorption. Option C aid in the breakup of proteins into amino acids and their absorption. Option D stimulates the pancreas to release its enzymes. So which option is correct? So bile salts, first of all, where the bile salts are present. See, liver is one of the digestive gland in our body, the largest digestive gland in our body, children. This is known to be the largest gland. It secretes a digestive juice called bile juice. This is the only digestive juice which do not contain any enzymes, children. But what it contains? Bile juice contains bile salts and bile pigments are present. Bile salts and bile pigments are present. So what the bile salts will do? They convert fats into small particles. It's not breakdown, convert into small particles so that the digestion of the fats will be facilitated. That process, conversion of the fats into small particles, is known as emulsification. That is done by bile salts only. So here option B correct, children. Emulsify the fats and facilitate their absorption after breakdown into simple substances. So let's move on to the next question, children. Yes. Cholecystectomy. cholecystectomy results in dash. So, what do you mean by cholecystectomy? It is related to or it is known as removal of the gallbladder. So, what happens if gallbladder was removed from our body? What is its what happens in our body? Option A, gastric cramps. Option B, impaired fat digestion. Option C, perpetual indigestion. Option D, no appreciable change. See, gallbladder, bile juice was secreted by the liver and it was stored inside the gallbladder for some time. If gallbladder was removed, directly it will be released without storing bile juice. So it results in impaired fat digestion. So the correct option is B. Yes. Let's move on to the next question. Now, read the following statements. The small intestine is the principal organ for the absorption of the nutrients. In constipation, the feces are retained within the rectum as the bowel movements occurs irregularly. The gross calorific value of fat is 4.1 kilocalories per gram. The innermost layer lining the lumen of the alimentary canal is serosa. How many of the given above statements are correct? Option A, all the 4 statements are correct. Option B, 3 statements are correct. Option C, 2 statements are correct. And option D, 1 statement is correct. Yes, here option C correct, children. 2 of the statements are correct. One is A, the small intestine is the principal organ for the absorption of the nutrient, because process of digestion would be completed inside the small intestine, and they have small finger-like projections called villi in which the digestive food is absorbed. Constipation, the feces are retained in the rectum because the fecal matter was stored inside the rectum, right? So as the bowel movements occurs irregularly, it will be stored, retained in the rectum itself. And the gross, option C and D are wrong statements, children. The gross calorific value of fat is 9.0 kilocalories per gram. It's not 4.1. And the innermost layer lining the lumen of the alimentary canal is serosa. No, serosa is not the innermost layer, children. It's the outermost layer. Yes. So option C is correct, children. Here, first 2 statements are correct. So I hope you all like the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe to Easy Science YouTube channel and click the bell icon. You will never miss an update from my channel. Please share with your friends, and in tomorrow's class, I will bring some more questions from digestion and absorption. Thank you.